Hello and welcome to the Excel VBA Functions Series. In this video, we continue looking at numerical VBA functions. Now there is another thing you can do with the function int, and is to check whether the number is an even or an odd number. Let me put it here. Check even, odd number. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do this. And again, we're going to get the number from the worksheet, let's say the active cell value, and we could check if it is even or odd, saying if the number divided by 2 equals the integer with the int function again of the number divided by 2, then in that case it means it's even. And otherwise else is odd. So if we select the number, let's maybe start with an easy one. That's a clear even number. We're gonna have the division, and the division by 2 is gonna give 1, and the integer of 1 is 1, so it's the same number. But if we go to an odd number, of course the division is gonna give some decimals, and it's gonna say it's odd. And of course this will work with any number, with a longer number, and with a number, well, then it would take the integer of a number with decimals. But there is another way to do it, which is using another function. It's not really a VBA function, it's rather a command, which is mod. And mod is giving the remaining of a division between one number of another. So the remaining, I'm putting that into a variable that I call remaining, of number 1 divided by number 2. So this is how mod works, and mod is a very useful command in some cases. In this case, to check whether the number is even or odd, it can be also used if we take our number, we put it here, and we divide it by 2, and as you can imagine, the remaining, if it's an even number, it will be 0, but if it is an odd number, it will not be 0. So we can check then if remaining equals 0, then this is even, else is odd. So that's just another way to do it. Message box. It's just another way to do it, right? You can either use this way or the other way. And if you want to check, let's check some even number, or and the first method odd, the second method odd. So it's just another way to show you also this command mod. Now let me show you another function. I'll put it in another module because this is already so other functions. And a useful one is round. And let me put that. So if we get a number from the worksheet or from whatever, and we want to round it, let's say, for example, we want to round the numbers in column C, and they only have 2 decimals. There's probably not a point to round them, but imagine they have 3, 4, 5 decimals and you want to round them to 2 decimals, or in this case, let's just round it. So let me call it RDNum, rounded number. Is gonna be with the function round, the number, comma, as you see here, number of digits after the decimal. So let's say we want to round it to 1 decimal only, right? We could do that with the round function, rdnum. Let me pick this one here. If we round it, is 8.3. Now, if we round this one, of course, it's gonna give 7.3 because after 5, it's gonna round up rather. Now, you can also do that, of course, in the Excel worksheet. There is a round function, and there are even more functions here. You have the round up and round down function, which in this case, for 7.26, the round for one decimal would give 7.3, but the round down would give 7.2, right? You don't have this round down and round up in VBA. So if you want to use those in VBA in the macro, you need to use the worksheet function object, right? So that would be round up number, worksheet function, round up, and again the number and the number of decimals if we want to round it up. Now there's an interesting thing here. Let me go to this number. If I use the round function, the round VBA function, it's gonna give me 6.4. But in mathematics, we've learned this is rather 6.5. And if we use the round Excel function for that number, it's gonna give me with one decimal, of course, it's gonna give me 6.5. So there's a difference there. You have to be careful about that if you are making exact calculations using the round function in VBA. Now, there is another interesting function I used a lot, especially in many of the Excel games, which is R&D and randomize. This is used to get random numbers. So first of all, I always put randomize to make sure it will return really random numbers. Otherwise, it can somehow repeat the pattern. So this ensures you get a completely random number. Now to get a random number in, let's use again the variable num for number, you can just say R&D, and this, without specifying anything, will give you a random number between 0 and 1 with decimals. So if we put this in a message box, it's gonna give a number between 0 and 1 with decimals. And here, if you want to have only two decimals, you could, of course, use the round number that we've seen just above. Let's say we want to have two decimals between 0 and 1. So we will have that 0.59, 0.62, just random numbers between 0 and 5. Now, usually you want to have some random number between x and y, right? So then you use you can do it like this. There are several ways to do it. This is the easiest way. If you put times 2, it will give you a number between 0 and 2 with decimal numbers. Now, if you want to start in some specific number, then you put plus the number. Let's say I want to start at 1, between 1, and it's going to span two numbers. So this would be between 1 and 3 with decimal numbers. But I often use integer numbers. I want a random number that is an integer. So then you, of course, can use the function that we just saw earlier, integer, or int. If you put int, then you don't really have to worry. You can use this formula, and it's gonna work between 1 and 2. So this is only gonna give a random number between 1 and 2 because it's gonna take the integer part. Now, if we want a number between 1 and 10, we can have that. Now we don't need the round function because it's an integer, and we're gonna get a random number each time between 1 and 10. In this case, as you can see. Now, if you want to have it between 2 and 11, you would change this. Or between 5 and 15, you would do that. And if it is between 5 and 10, so it would be 5, and here it would be times 5. Right? I think you get, this is one way to do it. There's another formula, it's a bit longer, which takes the minimum number, the maximum is a bit clear. I have used it in some of the other videos, but I think that this one works, especially when you just want a number between 1 and something. Then it's very straightforward. It's 1 and 5, 1 and whatever you add there. Okay, and there are some other numerical functions, rather mathematical functions. So we have SQR for the square root. We have the log or the exponential functions. We have also trigonometry functions like sinus, cosinus, things like that. But I think that's nothing probably new. They have equivalent functions, of course, in the Excel worksheet. So there are many more worksheet functions for mathematics and trigonometry than VBA functions. So here, if you put exp, you don't have only the exponential, you have also exponential distribution, or if you want to have, and for example, if you use log, we only have log in VBA, but here you have the log with base 10, so the logarithmic distribution, you have many more. And of course, here you have also many financial functions. There are a few in VBA, there are a few financial VBA functions, but there are many more here in the Excel worksheet. So I'm not gonna go through those because I rather focus on functions that you can use in the macros. Now, in the next video, we will have a look at conversion and information functions. I hope this was informative. Thank you for watching.